Hello and welcome to this video where we'll be covering meal prep. So first things first, we need to get the frequency sorted out. So if you're somebody who's got enough time or want to cook every single day, by all means, go for it. If you're somebody who wants to cook every third or fourth day, maybe even second, fifth, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what your frequency is, as long as the frequency suits you and your lifestyle the best. So one week it could be different than the next. Again, it doesn't matter if your lifestyle is constantly changing, then your frequency of meal prep will constantly change. We just need to make sure that we're getting it done each week. So to plan ahead, we want to choose the meals days in advance. So in an ideal world, you would set, say, for example, on a Friday night, and you're sitting writing down your meals for the next week. You know that, and again, this is just an example, but you know that over the weekend, you have now chosen your meals on the Friday. So you know that over the weekend, you need to go and pick up the ingredients and maybe start cooking either the Saturday or the Sunday ready for the week ahead. So whatever days you choose and whatever days suit best for you, you choose. But all we're trying to do is make sure that you're doing it well in advance so that everything's nice and organized and prepared. Also, make sure you get all your ingredients in, which I've just mentioned, and have the recipes readily available. So, if that means having them bookmarked on your laptop or computer, if that means having them bookmarked on your phone as well, having a note in your phone with the hyperlinks to the websites saved in your phone, you could do that. If you like the traditional way of just going into cookbooks and just marking pages, then you can do that. Again, it's totally up to you, but I just want you to have a ready, time-saving way of trying to find meals, because the most frustrating thing I think about meal prep for a lot of people is it's actually sitting down and choosing the meals that they're going to make, and they're like, oh, I'm so frustrated, I'm so bored, and like what I'm eating, but I can't think of anything new. Now, I've been there, I've sat and I've looked through recipes and recipes and recipes and websites and umpteen different sources, and by the end of it, you've maybe found one or two that you kind of like the look of, but then by that point you're just scunnered and you can't be bothered anymore, and then it's maybe like an hour's went by or 2 hours have went by and you're no further forward, and then it's just that for me that it's the time consuming aspect. So what I say to people is, if you're going to make your meals, you want to have everything ready in advance. So I'll get to what I was about to say. I'll say that in a couple of minutes, but you want to allow more than enough time. So being time constrained means that you want to save as much time as possible, essentially. So you want to make sure that everything's good to go, everything's ready, you've got your recipes all laid out, and you can just batter straight into it. So if you're cooking multiple meals at once, make sure that you've got enough space and utensils to avoid any unnecessary stress, because I know that I've been there, I've done that. I've went to cook 3 or 4 meals at one time, realised I haven't got enough pots, haven't got enough pans, haven't got enough ladles, whatever, and then you just end up a stressy mess during the meal, during the cook, which isn't ideal. Also, you want to make sure that you've got enough storage containers and or freezer space before cooking. So I've also been there. This is why I write these things, because I've done everything the hard way. I've done it all the way that it shouldn't be done. But when you're midway through a cook and you jump into the freezer and you realise, oh no, I've not got any space for this. So you're then in a dilemma of, I'm going to have to whip stuff out the freezer to put the new stuff in, which kind of defeats the purpose of you doing meal prep in the first place. So you just want to make sure that you've got everything lined up and ready to go. So keep it simple. Absolutely no need for 20 ingredient meals. The simpler the better. Now, if you are an amazing cook, if you're a very confident cook, then by all means you go for it and you do the 20 ingredient meals, as long as it doesn't feel like a chore or a task. So I want you to be cooking because you love cooking or you like cooking, not because you feel like that's what you need to do. So I want you to keep it as simple as you can. So I don't care how many ingredients are in the meals, as long as they taste good and you actually want to eat them, then that's the main thing. I want you to enjoy your food. Also, we want to shave off time where we can, so that would be heating up pots and pans. But I know it sounds really basic, but it's just obviously, honestly, these things help a lot. So heating up pots and pans prior to you cooking, boiling the kettle when you're chopping the veg, etc. Just all these wee daft things that make the biggest difference. Also, making use of seasonal foods to reduce the cost of your shopping and broaden your food choice. So really, really handy tip there, because more often than not, during the summer months, that's when we eat probably the most fruit and veg, because it's warmer, because we're not really looking for the kind of wintry type meals. But again, they're cheaper. So when they're in season, they're actually cheaper. You'll notice that, like, in winter months, you go to buy, for example, strawberries and raspberries, and they're much more expensive than they are during the summer because they're out of season. So you want to make use of as many seasonal foods as you can, but by doing that, you might be eating foods that you never even thought about picking up before. So you want to stick to the principles of the Triple S method. So small, sustainable steps. So like you were saying, keep it simple. Like, it does not have to be hard. It doesn't have to be um, it doesn't have to be time consuming. It doesn't have to be this chore. I don't want it to be, because that is not the road to success at all. And lastly, don't overcomplicate it and become overwhelmed. Take one thing at a time. So if you aren't the most confident cook, if you feel like meal prep is this big daunting task, then just take it one meal at a time. Just literally cook, do whatever you've been doing beforehand. Keep your schedule and your whatever you've been doing to cook the same, and just commit to making one meal. That's it. Just one meal, maybe for that week, and then the next week commit to making two. And then again, just take it nice and easy, nice wee small steps, and then just kind of up it from there. So next thing is cook the foods you love. Now this is massive. So I don't want you feeling like you are cooking foods just for the sake of cooking them because you think that they're healthy foods or you think that you need to eat them. Not at all. We want you enjoying your food as much as possible so that you never ever feel that you are, use the air quotations, dieting, because that is, it's just not a very nice feeling when you know that you've got a lunch or a dinner coming up that's just not enjoyable and you're like, oh, kale again, or cabbage again, or whatever you don't really like that much, and I don't want that to happen. So I want you to write down all of your meals in a booklet, a phone, a tablet, healthy or unhealthy. Now, the biggest thing that I've told my clients is, if you can collate every single meal that you've ever had into one place, then that's going to be massive, because you're creating a database of meals, which means that you never ever have to think again. Well, in theory, you never have to think again what you're going to be making, because from there you've got this booklet, and it could be 1 page long, it could be 10 pages long, but you're adding in the foods that you want to add in because you found a new recipe and you're like, oh, I can't wait to stick that in the book. And then from there it just grows and grows and grows. And that takes away any guesswork from your meal prep, because it takes away the constant flicking through your phone or going through the cookbooks, because you just go into your booklet, you see what you haven't had in a while, and you just start making it from there. And again, it'll be ever growing, because you'll constantly go through um, basically rotations of what you're cooking and go, you know what, I fancy something new, and then you pop online or you open up a cookbook and then you add another one in. Also, you can enter each meal into MyFitnessPal once you've made it and then save it. So you can actually manually put into MyFitnessPal. You can go to the create a meal option and you can manually put in the ingredients, and then that means that you don't have to manually enter the ingredients singularly anymore. You just put your meal in, as long as it's the same proportions and sizes and stuff, and then you're good to go from there. Alternatively, you can write the nutritional values next to it in your book, so you never have to track it again. So if you're not that fussed about putting the meal into MyFitnessPal and saving it in, you can just track it once in MyFitnessPal to reduce the amount of times that you have to track, and then write the nutritional value next to the food in the book, and then you've always got it there. And again, it takes away any guesswork. So finding fun recipes that your kids can join in with and draft in some help, or help to make a massive mess, can be a great way to, one, make cooking more fun for you, but two, to include the kids, depending on obviously what age they are. But if you've got young ones, then why not bring them in? Why not help them interact and get a wee bit of cooking on the go with them? Again, if it allows you to have a wee bit more time with the kids, then by all means, absolutely go for it. Get them involved. Choosing the foods that you love means you'll never feel like you're on a diet, which I mentioned a couple of minutes ago. And you'll also drastically reduce, if not completely eliminate, cravings, as you'll always be having amazing tasting food. So this is a massive one for me, because again, I don't ever like somebody feeling like they're deprived in any way. So if you say to somebody within reason that you can have pretty much any food that you want, and you can still lose weight, you can still put on muscle, whatever your goal is, then why would you not want that option? That is the option that I'm sure everybody would want, that they don't feel constrained in any way. They don't feel deprived. They don't feel as if they're being stuck in this really restrictive diet. So if we can reduce or eliminate cravings because we're always having the foods that we like, then that is massive. So that is covered meal prep. I will see you in the next video.